even though Taylormade bring out a lot of flash in the pan clubs, and I mean a lot, this is one particular club that I still wish they brought out. That's going to be a nice little club, because 7 woods just are so rare, especially for a left-hander as well. If you're left-handed and you're looking for a 7 wood, I mean, that's basically £4,000 worth of golf. Guys, how you doing? Welcome back to a brand new video. Simon on my way to go and pick up some clubs, some left-handed clubs actually, and we're going to talk updates, we're going to talk about everything. Obviously it was a bit of a hectic end of last year and I want to give you updates, but the main thing of this video is one of these Taylormade wedges. Actually I'm picking up 3 of them for a very good deal, and I think there's still a market out there for them. They're kind of interim of like a Callaway shore out, massive bucket of a sole on it, and you're Titleist Vokey, which the majority of amateur golfers, beginner golfers just can't utilise, and only have them in the bag there for the aesthetics and show. Guys, if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Let's go and pick up some bargains. So we're down here in Swindon, we're about to go and meet Marie. She's selling her husband's golf clubs, basically doing a bit of a clear out, and she's got some Callaway. I'll show you both the listings here actually. I'll show you the Callaway Razor X irons for £70, which again I thought was quite a good deal. It's basically £10 a club. Anytime you see any kind of club within the last, I don't know, 10 years for £10 a stick, it is good value. And whether it's the resale value or you're trying to build a bag, £10 a club, you just can't really go wrong. If it's got a head, a grip and a shaft, and it's been built within the last 10 years from the big boys, Callaway, Taylormade, Titleist, whatever, you're doing well. And then here's the other listing, £80 for 4 different wedges. Well, one Cleveland wedge, but the ATV is the one I'm after. A lot of you guys might remember this, some of you probably never heard of it, and I want to show you today exactly why I think this is a good club to be picking up and putting up in the bag. It's good value. This actually retailed at £89 when it came out, so it was built for more of that beginner level, but I still think it's very much undervalued to today's market. We'll look at eBay listings and why potentially you should try and pick up some of these and put them in your bag, because I do think it will help a lot of your game. And we are back. That turned out to be a rather bigger trip than I first anticipated. Let me give you the lowdown, but first of all, can we just appreciate that I've now fully transformed into my final form of dad, with a full-on workbench in the garage. It's been so long and I've been needing a workbench. Obviously not working in a pro shop, you don't have the tools, you don't have access to workbenches and heat guns and all of the stuff, so we obviously got to start our collection now. But I'm so glad that I've now got a garage with a workbench. It's very much a dad exciting thing. If you're under the age of 20, you probably have no appreciation of what I've got here, but everyone else above, and potentially a dad as well, will fully appreciate what this actually entails. So as you can see at the back here, this is what we initially obviously went to go and get for Callaway Razor X irons, as well as those ATVs, which I'll be talking more about. All-terrain versatility is exactly what they stand for, and I'll go through why I think they're quite underrated, especially for the price of the Taylormade wedge. Like, they go for pretty much the same as any Taylormade lower end wedge, like the old stuff, but I think they give you a tiny bit more, and something for you guys that are potentially starting the game to really look out for, as you probably never heard of them. They only brought out pretty much one ATV and that was it. Obviously it didn't sell well, the marketing wasn't quite there, but I actually think the tech and the idea and the concept was good for a very large range of players. Now, as you can see on the table, we've got a lot more stuff than just that. So in terms of price, we paid just over £300, so probably closer to the 350 mark to everything here. And it is left-handed, so it's one of those. I know a lot of you guys are like, Simon, I can't find left-handed stuff anywhere, but also a lot of you guys are potentially trying to sell left-handed stuff and you can't find a left-handed player anywhere. So it's very much a time and a place kind of thing. When buying left-handed stuff, this isn't necessarily going to be a quick flip for me, but at the same time it's always nice to have some left-handed stuff in stock. So as we can see, as we go down the line, I'll just show you some of the stuff that obviously we picked up. I was in my car about to drive off. Actually, no, I lie. I was about to do the intro, which you probably saw this video. The lady knocked on the door and said, by the way, my husband's friend, she did mention she's had some more clubs to sell. And I said, oh yeah, just message me, I'll come back. And she knocked on the door, and literally the guy that was storing the clubs for her husband turned up. and she asked if I could give her a price, which I did, and I basically gave her another £200 for everything on the table, as well as obviously the clubs in the back there, and I think that's a good price. And I want to talk about prices. Obviously I want to give you updates. You're probably looking at this going, Simon, where is the £10 to £2,000 bag challenge? It's coming. I'm literally making this video now, and I'm going out to make the video on that, as we have found a deal, because it kind of went to a halt over Christmas. Auction prices pretty much hit their all-time low. I was selling stuff on the second-hand club challenge, that £10 to £2,000 challenge, and we're basically getting our money back, and I really didn't like it. The whole idea was obviously get stuff, auction it, so it's quick, fast moving, we can do weekly updates, but when I'm getting the same amount of money back that I bought it for, obviously drove there, time, effort, the channel or the progress isn't going to be as good. So I kind of waited, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but especially after Christmas, we're seeing a bit of a surge in auctions and interest, and I'm selling quite a bit of stuff that I haven't sold for quite a while, which shows that a lot of people are potentially getting back out playing golf with this New Year's resolution. They're not wanting to obviously potentially drink, or they want to get into the gym, or they want to get healthier. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's going to last. Obviously we haven't hit our cold spell yet in England, so potentially we might see prices drop even further. That's what I'm kind of predicting. But at the moment, in the interim, we're going to go and pick up some stuff, and I will give you an update on that bag challenge. Don't worry, the series is very much there, but I don't want to leave you guys in the dark. So this is everything. 300 or just over £300 for a full set of clubs, by the way. Like, if you're a left-hander, imagine driver. I think there's a lovely little 7-wood in there as well, isn't there? Is that, yeah, that's the 7-wood. That's going to be a nice little club, because 7-woods just are so rare, especially for a left-hander as well. If you're a left-hander and you're looking for a 7-wood, I mean, that's basically £4,000 worth of golf. So anyway, that was my morning. That is my workbench. Let me go outside and show you exactly why I think these ATVs are actually quite underrated when it comes to Taylormade clubs, and for the price that they're going for. So I'll show you some prices of what the ATVs are going for. I think it's roughly like £30 to £45, depending if you want to do it, buy it now, or maybe look at an auction that potentially hasn't been listed that well. But again, any wedge at the moment is around £30. Obviously, you take away delivery. I mean, no one's going to bother selling their wedge for anything less than £20 after all fees, delivery and everything else taken out. So I think that's a good price. And the reason that, if you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know I really couldn't care what wedges you have in the bag. It's all about technique. But what I do love, and what I said at the start of this video, is I love wedges that get players to think about their wedge game, and not only that, but practice their wedge game better. The whole point of the ATV is that it's all about the bounce. They didn't actually tell you. They basically said with this one, which is very interesting, is that all the ATV wedges came out with the exactly same bounce. So you couldn't have a different bounce. You couldn't have like an 8 or a 10 or a 12 degrees bounce. They won't actually tell you, and they've got a rather big sole on the bottom here as well. And the reason I love the Callaway Shore Out, I'll show you a quick snippet of that video now, is that yes, it works in part, but actually it gets people used to the idea of trying to hit the ground with the bounce, like that for example. So it, let's say, hits the ground, I don't know, a centimetre before the ball, glides, still hits the golf ball, and the ball still goes a decent distance, or even that you still get the check and the roll and everything else. The majority of beginners and amateurs is that they put the ball far back in their stance, and they get that leading edge nice and forward because they don't want to thin it. They want to make sure that they don't thin it out the back. But the problem with this is that you've got no bounce now, and that leading edge is going to catch. So if you hit that same exact shot a centimetre before the golf ball, this one's going to dig, as you see there. Even with the mat, it's very difficult for it to get through the mat, so that's going to catch all the mud and the dirt and the stones, and your ball's going to land 4 feet in front of you. Whereas if you got used to this kind of method, getting the ball behind it and trying getting used to the idea of slapping it with the bottom here, as you can see, it's been well used at the bottom, trying to hit that big sole, then you've got more room for error. I make people better at wedge play, not by making their good shots better, but making their bad shots better. And I want you to be that wedge player that you might play with and they go, oh, rubbish, and it's like 6 foot from the flag. Do you know what I mean? They haven't caught it well, they've dunched it, but it's still done 90% of the way. And you can have a wedge game like that, and it's all about using the bounce. As you can see with these two wedges here, I'll show you quickly. This is the 50, so it's slightly more different. The whole point of the ATV is that from the top, or if say you're hitting a full wedge shot, it still looks like a normal wedge, which is different from the Shore Out. That's the only reason that I would say the Shore Out's worse than this, is that I couldn't be confident hitting a full-on wedge shot. But as soon as you open them, you can see how much more this ATV sits off the ground compared to the ping. And again, it's this added bounce effect that's just going to give you more confidence out of the bunkers. As I say, it's an all-terrain kind of wedge. Now,
if you're a decent player, it really doesn't matter. You're going to be able to play and adjust to whatever wedge you have in the bag, and the grooves and the bounce and the loft and the shaft. That's all important. But I like a wedge that kind of makes it simple. Forget the bounce. The amount of players that come to me and go, Simon, should I have a 70-gram shaft in my driver? But they play off 25 and very rarely hit 4 fairways out of 16 or 14, whatever their golf course is. 10 grams in a shaft's not going to make a difference. Same as tyres on a car isn't going to make you Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton. We want to make it simple. We want to make the technique better, and that's how you're going to become a better golfer, quick and fast, and then worry about all the technique and the stats and all that kind of stuff when you're off single figures. This Taylormade wedge here does make it a lot more simple by just merging it all into one and having that really high bounce, that really long sole on the bottom there, just so that in bunkers or let's say heavy rough or whatever it might be, you've got ultra forgiveness, and that ball or that club is able to go under the ball and not slide underneath it. Potentially, even though this pin glide wedge, don't get me wrong, this has got quite a big sole anyway, but even this is swamped by the ATV and it's very high sole on the bottom there. So guys, there's today's video. Rather short, rather simple. Going to go and obviously make that episode, I don't know where we are now, episode 8 potentially of the flipping series. I've got a nice little, it's not going to cost us much, or anything for that matter. I've got a nice little addition to the total to obviously hopefully for you guys to forgive me, but the ATV, look out for it. I do think realistically for you guys, if you're having to buy or spend 30 to 40 pounds on a new wedge or maybe a gap, even at the lower end, like a 60-degree one of these or 58-degree, where potentially you need a bit of versatility in and around the bunkers or flop shots, or let's say you live in England and it's now wet, this is perfect for you. And not only that, it doesn't look like a shovel from the top. Guys, if you like this video, leave it a like, subscribe if you're new. Catch you guys later.
Morning Tom, hope you're doing well. Good afternoon mate, well done on the lesson. And
Evening Alan, not a problem at all. And testing the G30s and the
afternoon gents, on my way to the lockup. Go pick up the Mura Iron.